followed Boston United since I was a young boy. My story begins with my grandfather, Sid Langford, who was so passionate about Boston United in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s that, according to my grandma, he used to send his ticket money to the club when he couldn't get to matches because of his job on the railways. In the 1950s, the home ground was known as Shodfriar's Lane before it was renamed as York Street, possibly because when the John Adams Way Link Road came into service in the 1970s, it crossed Shodfriar's Lane. I used to go to all the home matches in the 1950s and 60s and have many memories of players and matches on the ground. I went to the matches with Grandad, my Uncle Bill, Uncle Len, my cousins Mick and Steve Langford, and my dad. Players who stick in my mind from matches in those days include Ray Middleton, who was a manager, Don and Jeff Hazeldine, Dusty Miller, Johnny Burbeck, Norman, Arthur Rigby, Arthur Hukin, Jimmy Fell, John Flanagan, Jim Smith, Jeff Snade, Howard Wilkinson, Ken Oxford, Brian Clough, Brian Clifton, Stan Matthews, and many, many more. I clearly remember the FA Cup match when Boston United went to Derby's baseball ground in the FA Cup and won 6-1, one of the biggest cup upsets of all time. I didn't see that match, but I watched the results on TV, and as the results came through on the teleprinter, the announcer had to read it twice out of disbelief. I always wanted to play at Shodfriars Lane and got my chance as a 15-year-old in a Sunday League game for Inter Wibberton against Waveney. It was a bleak time when Boston United almost dropped out of all competitions. I still remember the thrill of running out onto the pitch and how the crowd went silent in disbelief when I scored with a David Beckham-like free kick that I bent over the wall into the corner of the net. I got the chance to play for Boston United reserves in 1967, whilst I was doing my pre-university work with Post Office Telecoms. The manager was Ken Oxford, and Jeff Snade, who was in the team that beat Derby County, played left back in that team. My most memorable match with the reserves was playing alongside Brian Clifton, who was a first-team player recovering from injury. Brian had previously played for Southampton in the First Division many times, and he was a very stylish player and a very nice guy. After I left Boston for university, I went on to play for Boston FC under Ken Oxford.